Let's go, let's go, let's go. It is Sunday. The Sabbath still on until sunset, and yours truly. I got 2 pieces of bacon on special. Thank you to the producers, farmers. $3.97 each. Gonna cook some bacon with some mashed potatoes and beef for me and my anonymous friend, who wasn't my friend because of the money, because I never had any. So grateful, thankful. Canadian bacon, yours truly, rock and roll from my neighborhood. We're gonna go roundabout and we're gonna put this bacon away because we're gonna stack it. Piece of bacon, always best to wrap it for sanitation and wash, disinfect your hands. Because if you touch items in the grocery store, if you touch item in the grocery store, well, there's a possibility, chance for bacteria, microbes, and germs. And I like to keep the protocols from the COVID era, because, you know, it's new ingrained habits. Hygiene, but don't get me wrong, I get dirty, but I get back clean. Rainbow Dragon rock and roll. For the farmers, butchers, bakers, nurses, doctors, and the grocery store clerks, and all those truckers on the road now doing a little bit of that. Snow removal ops, special ops, that's snow removal special ops. Grateful, thankful that I got the money for the bacon. I checked the budget and I said, so that means that I have $11 to last me for the next week. Grateful, thankful for that. So I always got to be on that meditative side, and got to say, although financially stressed, but grateful, thankful that my rent's paid, electricity bill's paid, and got that food and got that coffee. Special edition celebrating, marking 5 years. 5 years since I survived COVID-19 back in 2020. Had COVID in February, in March. Had COVID back between February 7th and March. Between February 7th and March 24th, I was very sick. It was like death, pestilence, and disease. It was like death, pestilence, and disease. It was like death, pestilence, and disease. I know that sounds like a hardcore death thrash metal songs, but yours truly, that's how I felt like. And right here, survived, and take every day carpe diem, anything for granted. You know, always open for business. I had many jobs, but always open for some work. I love working. I'm very physically active. As you can see from my hundreds of thousands of workout training program system videos. And right there is the mountain. That's about 15.6 kilometers away. You can see it from afar off, from hundreds of kilometers, of course, outside of the island of Montreal. Let the sun pierce some of those clouds for the truckers, the butchers, the nurses, the doctors, the grocery store clerks, all involved in the production, distribution of food. Right here from the lair, around about my headquarters. Gonna say my gratitude, grateful, thankful. Please give some charity. Billionaires. Give some charity. Finance the firefighters, a massage therapy session. Finance the firefighters, a massage therapy session, and there you go for the road. LOV, some rock and roll for those doing that snow removal operations, for the butchers, the bakers, the nurses, the doctors, those grocery store clerks, those warehouse workers, port workers, artists, and electricians, and the plumbers, and all those flipping some of those good burgers. Making some burgers, making some cheeseburgers, all those working in the fast food. Imagine all the civilization being a privilege, and all the Hydro-Quebec workers that are past, present, and future, for me to do this video. My work here a little bit on a Sunday, not too long, and gonna check for those trucks. See, they're all removing snow removal, and it has been a long, we have hit by a record snowing, so you can see past my videos, of course. Now it's getting, of course, you're getting on the hot side. I think it's even on the plus, so always got to beware. Now it's on the mushy side, and of course it's getting mushy because he was on the plus, so there's a lot of melting of the snow around the body, if you notice. But of course it's supposed to be in the minus still, but I guess it's this 3 days is gonna be a little bit of record breaking temperature, I guess, because it's probably in the plus now. When I left, probably gonna go down and up again. That's what I see on the information, but you never know. Weather can, of course, change. So grateful, thankful, rent's paid, electricity bills paid, got food and coffee. Encouraging all to work out, train, exercise, and working out, training, exercising has been. Please don't leave trash like that. Public workers putting in the garbage. See, there's a garbage there, and don't leave it there all because it's here is missing. Thank you, public workers. Public workers, we got to stack one there, but don't leave it there like that. Just throw it properly. You know that what we got. That civilization, public sanitation. Thank you, workers who pick up the garbage, the compost, the garbage, compost, the garbage, and the recycling. We got to get that public-private partnership. Support my dream. The dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom is fundamentally a dream for a public-private partnership across the North American collective, and parallel to implement the DRT, debt refusion theory, and Operation Northern Scorpio. I wonder if you need some help. If you need some help, thank you for the thank you. I think he's got a little bit of that snow removal, and yeah, Operation Northern Scorpio, we got to get it rolling. And thank you. Always willing to, with consent and hygiene, give some massages, some kisses, some tickles, some washing of the feet, you know, make yourself feel a little bit on that useful, pro-labor and love revolutionary centrist, financially stressed, struggling, but grateful, thankful. See that red, my favorite color. Support the dream, the dancing goddess, and the dragon kingdom, which is fundamentally a call for a public-private partnership. PPP across the North American collective, a public-private partnership across the North American collective. The butchers, the bakers, the nurses, the doctors, the electricians, the plumbers, construction workers here building another new construction. Support build the North American People's Imperial Coliseum on the Canadian-US border, and the Forgotten Goddess Temple. I credit me surviving COVID, marking, celebrating today with some bacon, some coffee, and whatever sweets I got. Surviving COVID 5 years, and construction workers help support build the Forgotten Goddess Temple and the North American People's Imperial Coliseum. The North American People's Imperial Coliseum. The North American People's Imperial Coliseum. North American People's Imperial Coliseum. I wish I could get my anonymous friend an apartment, a building, or 777. Whatever the case may be, here from my neighborhood, construction workers help support build the Forgotten Goddess. Just got something in the trash. Let's see where I got it. The Forgotten Goddess Temple help support, build, construct the Forgotten Goddess Temple. GODDSS. Yes, I did say goddess. I credit my surviving COVID, being depressed, being suicidal, to the Forgotten Goddess. 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 When y'all God bless, I gotta say God kisses. When y'all say God bless, I gotta goddess kisses. When y'all say God bless, I gotta goddess kiss that, you know. Anyways, spiritual beliefs aside, reincarnations, whatever the case may be, today, carpe diem every day, encouraging all to work out, train, exercise, support the dream. I see there's a little bit of sunshine coming, but it's still a little bit on the gloomy dark side. But nonetheless, don't mind my storms. I got plenty of scars on the body, suffered, struggled. Got that retrograde amnesia, I remember moving. And always saluting the butchers, the bakers, the nurses, the doctors, the grocery store clerks, all involved in the distribution, the production of food, and all those, of course, who are on the go, and all those who are now on the go for now, you know. So it's something which we gotta be on the lookout, and we gotta get it on the do, you know. So it's something which we gotta be seeing now, you know, and being on the transversal side, something's on the vertical side, and we always got to get on that goal, you know. So butchers, bakers, nurses, doctors, grocery store clerks, and all those involved in the production, distribution of food, you know, it's something which we got to be on the lookout, you know. Something which we got to be mindful. Civilization is a privilege. Civilization is a privilege. Civilization is a privilege, you know. That's all we got to be on the lookout. Civilization is a privilege. And that's all we got to get doing with that, you know. We got to rebuild the North American infrastructure, the North American ghettos. Got to rebuild the North American ghettos Gotta rebuild the North American ghettos. We gotta rebuild the North American ghettos. The North American inner urban cities. We gotta get it on to do with that. We gotta get it on to do. So it's something which we need a lot of work, you know. Implement the DRT, Debt Fusion Theory, the CIT, Citizen Integration Theory, and the DFT, Democratic Fusion Theory. That's how we gotta be implementing. Yours truly calling all willing and loving, pledge your allegiance, legions. Dar family, pledge your allegiance, legions. Dar family, pledge your allegiance, legions. Dar family. The butchers, the bakers, the nurses, the doctors, the truckers, the grocery store clerks. Gonna go on the transverse side there and gonna cross here the street and gonna check if I still got a little bit of something else on the garbage, I guess. So yeah, I gotta put another one. Just let me drop another garbage. And that's it, rock and roll. Support the DRT, Debt Fusion Theory, for the creation of the universal exchange. And this special Sunday, Sabbath is until sunset. You still can dance, can kiss. With consent, hug like you never hugged before is the main message. With consent, hug like you never hugged before is the main message. With consent, hug like you never hugged before is the main message. Here's got a little bit for that milk. Gotta salute the cows, the poultry, you know, and the workers, the butchers, the farmers, the electricians, the plumbers. Always rock and roll for those bus drivers, public bus drivers across North America. North Americans Unite. I don't know about that 51st state, but I believe in the North American Union based on my public-private partnership, democratic Republican right here, androgynous pansexual aspie artist, athlete, philosopher, geopolitical theoretical analyst, and theorist, and all those, of course, as a mystic who was born in the USA 3 times, post 7076, served in the United States Armed Forces when I was born as a man, but once was born as a woman. You get that 50-50 now. Just read through a glass darkly. George Patton, I know somebody making love now, hugging this Sunday, coast to coast, ocean to ocean. My Pope, the King, the sun, somewhere shining across Canada, coast to coast, and across the 50 states. North Americans Unite. We don't need the border. Let's get rid of the border. Do a census. See everybody who's been, of course, living here since 2017 or 2015, even do an assessment, linguistic XYZ assessment based on several categories and whatever have you. So that's why we need to get operational and get the North American common passport, common currency, the universal exchange unit, based on my DRT, Debt Fusion Theory, of course, to create it, the DRT, Debt Fusion Theory. That's how I gotta go doing with that, and that's how I gotta be on the transverse, you know. Just gotta watch it for certain dogs, you know. I get allergic to certain dogs. Just the fur, you know, for the XYZ, the fur length and the fur thickness. If they approach me too close, I start sneezing. So, except for poodles. See, we got a lot of potholes here. Potholes to rebuild. Public workers, support the DRT. We're gonna rebuild the North American inner cities, aka the ghettos of North America. We need to rebuild, construct, invest in buildings such as that. Mass financing of citizen fitness, citizen tourism, mass finance, building and construction, 44 tunnels in case of a thermonuclear war, and based on my philosophies and initiatives, part of the ongoing Dancing Goddess in the Dragon Kingdom, which is fundamentally a call for a public-private partnership, special Dragon versus Trump event. I've been challenging Donald Trump to a boxing match on the Canadian-US border ever since 2018, when Donald Trump imposed tariffs on Canadian aluminum and steel back of 10%. And back then, of course, when I have, of course, been challenging Donald Trump, and I got those red gloves, so thank you, my anonymous friend, and auctioning them for $1 million, auctioning my underwear, my socks, everything that I'm wearing now for $1 million each item, to give 50% half to my anonymous friend, and to invest to rebuild this building, maybe make some pools, some for the youth. And I used to do laundry right there for years and years. I used to do laundry right there, and now I gotta be grateful that I got a washer and the dryer built with brains and muscle. Let's implement my DRT theory, Debt Fusion Theory, and Debt Fusion Theory for the creation of the UE, and the CIT, Citizen Integration Theory, and the Democratic Fusion Theory. I gotta turn my head left and right here before I cross the street. Just how the prudence My fellow joggers, salutations. I gotta salute and applaud because I love seeing fitness. Myself, of course, fitness and sports. Dancing is my favorite fitness activity, and dancing is my favorite sport, you know. I can dance for hours, you know. Dragon, rainbow dragon, get that priestess. GODDSS, keep my name on their mouth. If it's not for a blessing, I know a little bit pestilence. 93, call 418. Here it is. For the butchers, the bakers, the nurses, train conductors. Gotta watch this so I don't get splashed, you know. Gotta watch this so I don't get splashed. Gotta watch this so I don't get splashed, you know. If I get splashed, get a little bit of that splashing, you know. I turn my head left and right, left and right, left and right, and here we are with that, you know. See? Getting on the splashing. Splashy side, so yeah. Butchers, bakers, nurses gonna now discuss the DRT, data refusion theory for the creation of the UE, the universal exchange unit. DRT, data refusion theory. Data refusion theory for the creation of the UE, the universal exchange unit, is the only solution. Why do I say to make that statement? Due to the fact that yesterday, 2024, already this February 23rd now, 2025, February 23rd, 2025. So last year, 2024, the interest only and solely the interest paid on the Canadian public debt was 46.5 billion. A billion has 1,000 million. 46.5 billion. A billion has 1,000 million. A billion has 1,000 million. A billion has 1,000 million. So that's 46,000 million. A billion has 9 zeros. So calculate and keep in mind that before COVID, 2020, 2021, the number was 20.3. Still billions. Still 1 billion has 9 zeros is 1,000 million. But the amount of interest, only the interest paid on the public debt, has more than doubled. 20.3 double would have been 40.6. 20.3 times 2, that's 40.6. It's 46.5 billion. 46.5 billion, 46.5 billion, 46.5 billion, 46.5 billion. That's the amount. So it has more than doubled. More than doubled. Imagine that, just that amount. More than doubled. So there's no other way. No other way. Ah, the children are joyous. Playing in the snow. See? They're happy, I'm happy. They're joyous, are joyous, safe and secure. That's what's most important, you know. The rest, I guess it's a little bit of the commentary. So, but the DRT is important to establish it and create it and implement it for them, you know. So that's how we gotta get doing with that. And here on West Broadway, you know, on Coffee Street, we gotta get it on the go, you know, and we gotta get that meditation and see my fellow citizens to go a little bit on the jog, and the children playing a little bit of snow there, fighting with each other in the snow, laughing. That's the most important thing. That's why you know, somebody to be armed in the security forces, it's for them, you know, to carry privilege of carrying a lethal weapon for defense only, defense my initiatives. Dragon Army are for the North American Collective, strictly and only and foremost and firstmost and solely, SOLE, solely and only for defense. Coast to coast, ocean to ocean. Anyways, the DRT, debt refusion theory, DRT, debt refusion theory for the creation of the UE, the universal exchange unit, The DRT, the debt refusion theory, stands for D, debt, R, refusion, T, theory. And of course, we paid 46.5 billion in interest. So that amount has doubled in 3 years. Yes, due to COVID. And celebrating my surviving COVID right now is of course something which I gotta say that it is the only solution. So I'm gonna explain it again. Again, make it a parallel. If somebody's interest payments double, let's say me, you, citizen X, if the interest payments one has to pay, that means that Exactly. The person, if the salary doesn't double, if the salary doesn't keep up and increase while the interest increase, you have to reduce, cut the spending. So that's exactly what is the same mathematical financial principle. Mathematical financial principle is the same mathematical financial principle with the public debt, with the public debt, with the public debt, with the public debt, with the public debt. So that's what it is. So it's the same mathematical financial principle with the public debt. So the public and the private debt is the equivalent, is exactly the equivalent in terms of paying the interest. Debt servicing is official. Debt servicing is just a fancy term to a more technical financial term to say the interest we pay on the public debt, the interest we pay on the public debt, the interest we pay on the public debt. So we're going to take all the public and the private debt. So keep in mind my DRT theory, the debt refusion theory, DRT, debt refusion theory, also includes monetary integration theory, also includes monetary integration theory. Grand Canyon State also includes monetary integration theory. So monetary integration theory is included in my DRT theory, and that's the financial theory which was implemented in the European Union. The Europeans, back in the 90s, they destroyed their own central banks. They destroyed their national central bank. The Germans, the French, the Italians, they destroyed their national central banks. They no longer have a common central bank. They have a multinational central banking institutions which coalesced, integrated several nation states. So us here, Canada, Bank of Canada is a national. Federal Reserve is national. Most countries have a central national bank, but not in the European Union. They, in the 90s, more than 25 years ago, they destroyed their own central banks. They destroyed their annulled their own currency. They created a common central bank to issue a currency, a common currency known as the euro. So my DRT theory includes monetary integration theory. That's super important to keep in mind as I'm here grateful, thankful, celebrating 5 years since I survived COVID. And of course, paradoxically, having Asperger's, which is a neurological mental divergent condition, not a mental illness, makes me that my special interest, also known as obsessive interest, one out of the three, the holy trinity of yours truly, is geopolitics. And when you study geopolitics, you got to know a little bit about public finance, So we are at the point where it's a crisis, just like an individual, let's say in 2020, 2021, citizen X, whatever the case, let's say me, you, or somebody else, interest payments would have been $156. From 156, if they jump more than double to 333, from 156 to 333, from 156 to 333, that means automatically, if the salary, how many salaries doubled? Not many. Average salary increase over the past 5 years has been 4.4% only. So some have increased by 5, 10, even 15%. Some have increased by 1%, 2%, 3%. But the average in 5 years has been 4.4, the average. So keep that in mind, that of course, if that's what the average is, then of course, if the interest payments double, you have to cut, reduce the spending, reduce the budget. You're gonna have to cut whatever the case may be. Cut Netflix, whatever it is, you're gonna have to cut, reduce spending, cut Netflix, cut whatever, your cell phone, cut whatever else, cut whatever else, cut Netflix, cut whatever else, whatever the case may be. So cut whatever else, So due to the fact that that's a spending, you're gonna have to reduce. So the DRT, debt refusion theory, for the creation of the UE, the universal exchange unit. That's what it is with that. So we're gonna take all the public and the private debt, all the public and the private debt, all the public and the private debt. So my debt, your debt, our debt, all the debt, public and the private debt. My $10,000, your coast to coast, ocean to ocean, we're gonna convert it into US dollars. we're going to convert it into US dollars. So we're going to convert it into US dollars. We're going to do the conversion. All the public and the private debt, we're going to convert it into US dollars. All the debt, public and private. So my debt, your debt, whatever the case may be, all the public private debt, we're going to convert it into US dollar. All that debt will be the initial money supply. Converted into US dollars, we're going to be the initial money supply for a new central bank. So all the debt, public and private, is going to be, of course, all the public and private debt, my 10,000 included, is going to be all the money in circulation. The public and the private debt converted to US dollar. And all that money is going to be the initial money supply. We're going to create a new currency called the UE. U dot universal, E dot exchange, U dot unit. We're going to create the universal exchange unit. So all the money, all the debt, public and private debt, we're going to create a new currency with it. We're going to create a new currency. So all the debt, public and private debt, we're going to create a new currency. All the debt, public and private debt, we're going to create a new currency. All the money, we're going to create a new currency. And all that debt is going to be, of course, the new currency. So it's going to be called the UE. The Universal Exchange Unit, the Universal Exchange Unit. The Universal Exchange Unit. The UE, U dot universal, E dot exchange, U dot unit. The UE. The Universal Exchange Unit. So we're going to cap an interest rate of 10%. 10%. No more but less can be less. So all the money is going to be the initial money supply. All the debt is going to be public and the private debt, both. And this equivalates the same for the United States. Because of course it has reached a congruent level. Both the United States, public and private debt, has reached an all-time high. We broke records for both the public and the private debt. So my DRT theory to be implemented simultaneously. By preference, if not Canada, it's a must, it's an emergency. It could be that Monday, tomorrow, on the 24th of February, there's a Black Swan event, just a financial term to say and utilize the functionality for an event of a catastrophic proportion in the world of finance, with a public or private. Myself, I got $10,000 in debt, but my interest is below 11%, but my rent's paid, electricity bills paid, got food and coffee, and I was able to afford getting, the bacon was reduced from $6.97 to $3.97, so by more than almost 45%, 44.9%, something like that. 44, from 7 something to 397, about 44 plus percent, more than 44%. Gotta get it on the 44%. So that's what we're gonna get doing with that. So by more than 44%. Anyways, so the DRT, including monetary integration, my debt refusion theory, is the only solution. You can argue all you want, or something very similar to my DRT theory is the solution now where we are today. 23rd of February 2025, marking my celebration, having survived COVID. I always say I died during COVID. I died, nothing I want to go back to is live for today with hope for tomorrow. So live for today with hope for tomorrow. So androgynous, pansexually aspie, artist, athlete, philosopher, geopolitical, theoretical, analyst, and theorist, who's grateful, thankful, rent's paid, got that bacon, so it's something which is double good, double plus. So I always live with gratitude and encourage all to work out, train, exercise. And today's was a little bit of an hour because I only started filming after like 44 minutes on my march or so. But let's build those 44 tunnels, and with my DRT theory, we're gonna be able to rebuild the infrastructure of North America, build those 44 tunnels, finance citizens to work out, train, exercise, finance citizens tourism, because it did me lots of good in 2017 when I crossed Canada coast to coast and when I established a strong esprit de corps with my fellow Canadians. And ever since then, I've been on an esprit de corps. My family here, Quebecers, Canadians, my brothers and sisters in the USA, not just because I'm a mystic, but I was born in the USA. Just read George Patton's Three Glass Darkly. I believe in reincarnations. I was born a man and woman. Sometimes a man, you get that 50-50 now. The most important is that DRT has to be implemented for the creation of the UE, the Universal Exchange Unit. There's no other way but my DRT theory, debt refusion theory, where we are now, with the financial situations where we are now. now. The financial situation makes it, of course, that we are at the critical junction point where the financial critical point is that so much interest rates paid. So by DRT theory, which includes monetary integration unit, for the creation of the UE, U dot universal, E dot exchange, U dot unit. The UE, U dot universal, E dot exchange, U dot unit. The universal exchange unit has to be created by the DRT or something similar. Again, that's it, that's all. With that money, we're going to cap an interest rate of 10%. It's not going to be able to be more than 10%. 10%, it could be 3.33, 1.56, 9.3, whatever the case may be, whatever the case may be. This mountain of snow, whatever the case may be, whatever the case may be, that's what it is. And we're going to cap an interest rate level of 3.33, 7.18, 4.18, 9.3, whatever the case may be. Below 10, it can be, but not, of course, more than 10. So that's where we're going to cap it at. That's where we're going to balance with that. So it's going to be a restart of our financial matters, and there's going to be a restart of the financial protocols, and that's what it is with that. So the DRT is the only solution. The DRT is the only solution. The debt refusion theory for the creation of the UE, the universal exchange in it. That's it. That's all. Rock and roll with that. Encourage all the workout, training, exercise, and gonna go in the snow now. Working out, training, exercising has been, is, will be my medicine of choice. Encourage you all to do LOVE.